You ask me if I'm happy now, that's good as any joke I've heard. It seems since I seen you last, I done forgot the meaning of the word. If happiness is empty rooms and drinking in the afternoon, well, I suppose I'm happy as a clam. But if it's got a thing to do with smiling or forgetting you, well, I don't guess that I could say I am. Did you ever see a down and outer waking up alone without a blanket on to keep him from the dew? When the water from the weeds had soaked the papers he'd been putting in his shoes to keep the ground from coming through. And his future feels as empty as the pockets in his pants because he's never seen a single dream come true. That's the way that I've been feeling since the day I started falling from the bottle to the bottom, stool by stool. Learning hard to live with losing you. You wonder if I'm better off with freedom now to do the things I choose. Well, all right, folks, welcome back to the College Football Tonight here on HerbFM Radio. The third hour, we have Trevor Groves, our good friend from CUTigers.com. And, well, Trevor, no teleconference call this week, so kind of bummed because I want to say happy birthday to Dabo.
Kind of surprised about that, to tell you the truth. I think in the past they've always had the ACC teleconference, being rivalry week and everything. I usually don't ask Dabo questions on Wednesday because we always interview him after practice that night, but I like to use it to talk to opposing coaches each week. This is the only chance that I get to talk to them, but we're playing South Carolina anyway, so Will Muschamp wouldn't have been on the call anyways for me.
Well, talk about this rivalry. Everybody, it was like Renfro went down last weekend, and I guess all the people in South Carolina, the Gamecock fans, are making fun of him.
Kind of classless in my opinion, but that's a good heated rivalry for you. There's going to be a lot of bullets flying in both directions, and that's just par for the course with this Palmetto Bowl. I think this is really one of the probably the most underappreciated rivalry in all of college football, just because of its intensity. It may not have the cachet of your Alabama, Auburn, or your Michigan, Ohio State because of the impact of those games and the high rankings of those teams over the years. But just as far as pure hatred and intensity and animosity with this one, just to give you an example, it's the third longest running rivalry in all of college football. The only two rivalries that have played more consecutive years are Minnesota and Wisconsin, and Nebraska and Kansas.
Oh, wow.
And I think you would agree, nobody really considers those big-time rivalry games. The only reason that Clemson, South Carolina isn't the longest running consecutive rivalry is because in the early 1900s, riots broke out between the two fan bases, and so they postponed the series for about 6 or 7 years in the early 1900s. So,
oh, wow.
It gives you an idea of how meaningful it is in the state. There are no pro sports. Dabo compares it to the Iron Bowl. Obviously Dabo is familiar with that, having played at Alabama, and he said that it's very, very similar to that one. But like with Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Notre Dame, I don't even consider those true rivalries. Maybe the fans hate each other, but they're not in the same state. You don't live next door to your bitter rival. You don't work next door to the next cubicle beside your bitter rival 365 days a year. So you don't have to live with it. You're not confronted with it every single day of the week like you are in this state or in Alabama. So I think that's what makes this rivalry special. And of course, it's been a rivalry of streaks. South Carolina won 5 in a Dabo was actually 5-5 against the Gamecocks in his head coaching career. So this will be an opportunity for him to get it on the right side of the ledger against the Gamecocks. That was a lot of people attribute that first win against the Gamecocks when he was the interim coach in 2008 to his getting the full-time job here at Clemson. So if he's able to win on Saturday, he will actually have a winning record against every team against which he's played at least twice, with the exception, of course, of Alabama, who he's 1-2 against. So definitely a huge game. It's been a little bit lopsided the last couple of years. Clemson won 56-7 here in Death Valley 2 years ago. Last year in Columbia, it was 34-10, but it wasn't even as close as that. Clemson had a 34-0 lead going into the fourth quarter, and Williams-Brice was pretty much all orange late in the third, early in the fourth. So it's been a little bit lopsided, and South Carolina, of course, dealing with a lot of injuries. But we'll see how it shakes out on Saturday.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Gene Stallings tonight on the show. I got, because of the so I had him, and I asked him about Dabo Swinney, and I said, what type of player was he? And he goes, he was just an average player, and and I hired him as a GA, when he was, here in Alabama, and and he's doing a great job at Clemson, and I said, well, you were just there. He goes, yeah, I enjoyed enjoying him. So.
I got a photo of him actually before the Louisville game. They had a little reunion. I had no idea. Nobody really knew that he was going to be there. Dabo told me after the game in the press conference that he actually came on Thursday night. He spoke with the team and everything, and it was pretty cool. They actually, just by happenstance, they had like 17 former Gene Stallings players were there at that Louisville game that weekend, including Lorenzo Ward, who played for Stallings as well. At the same time, Dabo was there, but Lorenzo Ward was Louisville's defensive coordinator, formerly at defensive coordinator at South Carolina. Ward now, by the way, is the interim head coach of Louisville now that Bobby Petrino has been fired. But he was there as well, of course, and so he took part in that little group photograph that they had with Coach Stallings before the game. But I just happened to I was down in the field for pregame like I always am, and just glanced over and I saw Thad Turnipseed walking into the tunnel with Gene Stallings on his arm. So I got a quick photo of him and posted that on social media and on the website. But really cool to have him there. I remember when Dabo was the interim coach early on, and of course, like the vast majority of the Clemson fan base wanted a big name, established, successful head coach to come in and replace Bowden. But I remember Gene Stallings really gave Dabo a glowing endorsement. And for me personally, that was enough for me. As a young Clemson alumnus, that pretty much clinched it for me. And I was all in. I was all aboard with Dabo once I heard Coach Stallings talk about him. But you mentioned Dabo, of course, was a walk-on there at Alabama for Coach Stallings, and you mentioned Renfro earlier. By the way, Renfro, Dabo said this morning during the press conference, there's really been no change. He's just going through the concussion protocol. He told us the other night he didn't know for sure that he hadn't had a concussion, but that's the concern with him, and he's really just being evaluated day to day. But personally, I'd be shocked if he didn't start the game on Saturday. This is his last game in Death Valley, so I'd be really surprised if he didn't start the game. But just getting back to Renfro, he of course is the ultimate walk-on or former walk-on, and he's actually one of the 3 finalists for the Burlsworth Trophy, which is a national award for former walk-on players. But I just think that's fitting that he'd be playing for Dabo, who was a former walk-on himself, and now he's up for that award. And Renfro, by the way, against Duke, set a new Clemson record for starts by a wide receiver, and he also in the same game broke Artavis Scott's Clemson record for consecutive games with a catch. He now has 39 straight games with a catch. Even though he left that game in the first quarter, he managed to break that record. So definitely all the Clemson faithful are looking forward
Yeah. Well, I would like to get you on next week because every year it seems like I see you at the ACC championship game. So we'll do we'll talk about our ACC championship memories and what we're going to expect next weekend.
For sure. It's interesting now that Pitt has clinched. This will be the fourth different opponent that Clemson will have faced in the ACC championship game. So I think that's kind of a testament to the consistency of Clemson and the Atlantic Division, and just the complete inconsistency of the Coastal. I guess you could say the Coastal is a little bit more interesting and unpredictable, but four different representatives on that side, and it's just been Clemson for the Atlantic these last 4 years.
Exactly. Well, we'll talk more, and we might see Dan Marino next weekend.
Is he going to be one of the legends?
I don't think he is, but you never know. He was there for Wake Forest last week, so he might be there. You never know.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Incidentally, since you brought Marino up, Deshaun Watson, I saw a week or two ago, joined Dan Marino and Kurt Warner as the only three players in NFL history to throw 35 touchdowns in their first 16 games.
Okay.
16 or 18. But pretty good company there. And of course, Kurt Warner, his rookie season, he was kind of an atypical rookie because he was much older, having played elsewhere professionally before he went to the NFL. So he's a little bit older, more experienced as a rookie. But that's pretty good company nonetheless for Deshaun.
Exactly. Well, we'll get you on next Wednesday. We'll do some talk about the ACC championship game.
All right, look forward to it, Chris.
All right, we'll be right back here on the College Football Tonight here on HerbFM Radio.
Well, the midnight headlight find you on a rainy night, steep grade up ahead, slow me down, making no time. But I gotta keep rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out a tempo, keeping perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. But I gotta keep rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day. Well, the truck stopped Judy coming on to me, trying to talk me into a ride, said I wouldn't be sorry. She was just a baby. Hey, waitress, pour me another cup of coffee, pop it down, jack me up, shoot me out, flying down the highway, looking for the morning. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day.
All right, folks, welcome back to the College Football Tonight, and we have our good friend Jerry Dipaloa, and Pitt has clinched the Coastal Division for the first time ever, and they have a date with Clemson next Saturday, but in the meantime, they got to face the Hurricanes on Friday. So, Jerry, what do they got to do to keep this momentum going, because they've been winning ever since they lost to Notre Dame on October 13th?
Well, first of all, Chris, I'm not going to tell Chris our news of the events at ACC championship game, because he's not talking about it. He doesn't want reporters talking about it. He certainly doesn't want his team talking about it. As long as they got to play Miami on Saturday down in South Florida. He really wants to win this game. With 8 wins, it will be the third time in his 4 years that he's won 8 games, and that would be before their 2 postseason games. They're upcoming, the championship game, a bowl game. So he has an opportunity to win 8 or 9 games this year, which would be the first time they won 9 games in almost a decade. So it's a big game coming up Saturday, and they've been playing well in the last this 4-game winning streak for several reasons. One of them is the way defense has been playing. Other than the Duke game where they gave up about 1,000 yards
Well, they're taking on a Miami squad that last year was 10-0 and went to Heinz Field, and Miami lost to Pittsburgh. And do you feel like that the Hurricanes are going to have a little chip on their shoulder to, get back at the Panthers?
I'm sure they will. I mean, they're trying to resurrect their season because they've been hanging on as kids for a long time, 3 or 4 weeks before they beat Virginia Tech the other day. And what happened to Virginia Tech? Virginia Tech looked like it was going to be a pretty decent team at the beginning of the season. They've fallen on hard times, which is kind of goes to show that the Coast Division this season is not very strong. Miami and Virginia Tech, we thought were going to be pretty good. They turned out to be very mediocre or less, and Pitt took advantage of the situation, won every game they needed to win down the stretch, and they won their first Coastal under Pat Narduzzi, which is a fulfillment of his prophecy. You probably know 2 days before the season started in August, he was at a luncheon with a bunch of Pitt boosters, and he guaranteed, or he told the guys, or told the people there, make sure you get your tickets for the ACC Championship December 1st in Charlotte, because we're going to be there. He said this in August, and he made it come true last Saturday.
Exactly. So what does Pitt got to do to win this game on Saturday to keep themselves going for next Saturday?
I kind of think they got to keep that balanced offense going. It's going to be real tough to run against Miami. Miami statistically has the third best defense in the country behind only Clemson and Michigan. So it's going to be very tough to get its running game going. So they're going to have to maybe turn to the passing game a little bit, maybe even more than a little bit. From Kenny Pickett, and Pickett hopefully can pick up where he left off against Wake Forest and hit some big plays downfield to loosen up that defense a little bit. That's the key. Loosen up the defense. Get those 8 or 9 guys, get that 8th and 9th guy out of the box, so they can make some plays and so they can run the ball. And they're going to have to respect the pass. It's never going to be a great team unless the other team respects its passing game, and that's something that's starting to happen. But it needs to keep going Saturday in Miami.
Exactly. Well, Jerry, I hope to get you on next Wednesday when we preview this championship game, and we get ourselves ready for a good trip down to Charlotte.
So I hope to do that Wednesday. I hope to see you in Charlotte on December 1st.
Well, I definitely will be there, and I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
And the same to you. Thanks for calling. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll be right back here in the College Football Tonight here on HerbFM Radio.
You ask me if I'm happy now, that's good as any joke I've heard. It seems since I seen you last, I done forgot the meaning of the word. If happiness is empty rooms and drinking in the afternoon, well, I suppose I'm happy as a clam. But if it's got a thing to do with smiling or forgetting you, well, I don't guess that I could say I am. Did you ever see a down and outer waking up alone without a blanket on to keep him from the dew? When the water from the weeds had soaked the papers he'd been putting in his shoes to keep the ground from coming through. And his future feels as empty as the pockets in his pants because he's never seen a single dream come true. That's the way that I've been feeling since the day I started falling from the bottle to the bottom, stool by stool, learning hard to live with losing you. Wonder if I'm better off with freedom now to do the things I choose. Well, all my time's my own and I got nothing left but sleeping time to lose. There's no one here to carry on if I stay out the whole night long. Won't give a tinker's damn if I don't call. I'm living like I wanted to and doing things I want to do, and nothing means a thing to me at all. Did you ever see a down and outer waking up alone without a blanket on to keep him from the dew? When the water from the weeds had soaked the papers he'd been putting in his shoes to keep the ground from coming through. and his future feels.
All right, folks, welcome back to the College Football Tonight. We have our good friend on the show with us, Greg Madia, with us from the Daily Record down there in Harrisonburg, Virginia. So, Greg, Coach Houston was very animated this week about getting not a first-round bye, doing a home game against Delaware. So, do you feel like the team's going to be more motivated Saturday to keep it going?
Yeah, they were definitely not happy on Sunday when the 24-team tournament was released by the NCAA on that ESPN Youth Selection show. I know Houston had said that he thought it was disrespectful on the air. Once he got off the air, he said he was pissed off and that the team was pissed off. So it was kind of an interesting dynamic. JMU thought for sure they'd be able to get a seed for this tournament. Turns out it didn't happen. Maybe that's partly on their fault. Maybe it's some of the committee's fault for not looking at things right. But yeah, I think Houston will definitely use it as a motivator. I know he said it as soon as he got off the air with ESPN, and I know he'll bring it up, I think, probably Friday night when they meet ahead of Saturday's game. And then he'll probably bring it up Saturday in the locker room before they run out of the field. That would be my take. Houston will definitely try to channel it into motivation.
Well, they played Delaware last year, right?
Yes, they did play Delaware last year. It was a 20-10 win up at University of Delaware. It was a game that was very, very physical, running between the tackles for both teams. Physical play at linebacker. Their linebackers are terrific with Colby Reeder, Troy Reeder, and Charles Bell. You look at the other side with JMU, they want to run the football. Trey Sharp, Barton Johnson. Those two had an absolutely terrific day along with the quarterback Ben DiNucci this past Saturday when JMU won at Towson. All three of them went over 100 yards on the ground. JMU rushed for a season-high 395 yards. Their offensive line is playing a little bit better. So that's what I look at. I look at that matchup between Delaware's front and James Madison's offensive line and running game. And that's where the matchup's going to come down to. If JMU could run the ball like they did this past weekend and like they did the week before against Rhode Island, they're going to have no problem beating teams in the postseason.
Oh, I agree. And looking at the postseason bracket, they have to go to Colgate next week, and then if they beat Colgate, if you look out in the future, you might have to have a rematch against North Dakota State.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable that could happen in the quarterfinal. I'm sure North Dakota State coach Chris Kleiman, I'm sure he's not thrilled about that happening so early. I probably doesn't properly reward North Dakota State for their perfect unbeaten regular season. But you look at James Madison's possible path, and it's very, very difficult. As you mentioned, you got the game Saturday against Delaware, which is no gimme. Delaware could come out and play well. They had a 5-game winning streak this year, and they could come out and play well and start to turn it around. You look at Colgate. They have the nation's top scoring defense, only allowing 5.7 points per game. I know they play in the Patriot League, but you still got to show up and stop people. So that mark alone is impressive. And they haven't beaten quality opponents like JMU has. JMU has 3 wins against plus 500 teams. Colgate has none, which is probably why I think people felt James Madison maybe deserved the seed instead of Colgate. But nonetheless, Colgate's still a quality opponent. It's a team that beat JMU in the postseason when the two last met in 2015 in a second-round matchup a couple of years ago in 2015 before JMU went on a couple of different terrific runs. But it's going to be a tough path because, as you said, after that, it's a possible trip to Fargo. And James Madison, North Dakota State, they've butted heads the past 2 years. Last year, North Dakota State beat JMU in a championship game. The year before, JMU won in Fargo in the national semifinals. So it's a tough path. Beyond that, maybe South Dakota State, Kennesaw State, and then I'm not sure what's going to happen with the other side of the bracket. But it's going to be an interesting tournament nonetheless, and a different type of tournament for JMU, which is not seeded going into the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing for Thanksgiving down there in beautiful Harrisburg, Virginia?
Yeah, so me and my girlfriend, we're gonna have a nice quiet Thanksgiving. Some turkey, some stuffing, some corn, green beans, and some mac and cheese, of course, and probably some pie too. So You know me, Chris. We've talked before. You know I like to eat, so
Yeah.
know there's going to be plenty of food. What are you doing, pal?
Well, trying to hang out with both families of my girlfriend and my family. So trying to do double duty on Wednesday, on Thursday too.
I get it. Hey, I get it, man. I get it. But that's the great part about the holidays. You can see
Exactly.
as much family as you want. You can eat as much as you want, right?
Yeah, and you just pass out with all the MSG you eat, you know. So. Well, Greg, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I hope you and your girlfriend have a great Thanksgiving and your family as well. And hopefully we'll talk more next week.
Sounds good, Chris. As always, I appreciate you having me on. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, we'll be right back here in the College Football Tonight with Sean Bedford, the Georgia Tech radio analyst, to end the show. We'll be right back.
Well, the midnight headlight find you on a rainy night, steep grade up ahead, slow me down, making no time. But I gotta keep rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out a tempo, keeping perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. But I gotta keep rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way. For me, ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day.
Yep, let's do this.
All right, we'll finish up with our closer tonight, Sean Bedford, the one of the radio analysts for Georgia Tech football. Big Peach State rivalry this weekend with Georgia and Georgia Tech. So you played in this rivalry. What's the feeling like when you've seen Georgia on the other side?
Well, there's a reason they call it clean old-fashioned hate, and it's certainly an intense rivalry, and Georgia likes to pretend frequently throughout the year that they really aren't all that concerned about Georgia Tech and that's somehow beneath them, but it always rears up in this game that we find out just how much your teams don't like each other, and so I think both sides come into this game with a little extra motivation and intensity, and it's always a very hard-fought game.
Yeah. Well, this week, this game, both teams are basically one's going to the SEC title game, and the other one is going to a bowl game. So this seems like it's a good way for Paul Johnson to make Georgia think about the following week against Alabama.
Well, yeah, no, I think there's always the possibility that Georgia is, looking ahead and thinking about that SEC championship matchup against potentially what some people have already labeled as the greatest college football team of all time. But at the same time, given the nature of this rivalry, I think so many of the players who have played in this game have gone up against each other in the past. They're familiar with each other. There's too much bad blood for there to be much look ahead here, and so I think, I think Coach Johnson and his guys are going to be ready to go, and I'm sure Kirby Smart and his guys are going to be similarly motivated. But I think this is a game that means a lot to both of these teams.
Yeah. Well, if Georgia Tech wins, it'll be the first time they won over a top-ranked Georgia squad. They're 0-10, previously, so that's kind of weird. I didn't see that on the notes.
Yeah, but I would also point out if they win, it would be the third game in a row they've won at Sanford Stadium. It's been a little bit of a weird outcome in these games. It seems that Georgia Tech can only beat Georgia between the hedges. And in fact, it's been, I think, since 1999 since Georgia Tech has beat UGA in Atlanta, but Tech has beaten Georgia in Athens in 2016, 2014, 2008. So Paul Johnson's certainly hoping to extend that streak.
Well, the last time they played in Athens, did Georgia Tech win on like a field goal, or I think I couldn't remember. It was like 2 years ago, right?
Well, so 2 years ago, Georgia Tech won on a last-minute dive into the end zone by Quay Searcy, one of the A-backs on this year's team. What was a broken trick play that he made the smart decision to pull the ball down and run it in himself instead of throwing it back to the quarterback. The year or 2 years before that, Georgia Tech tied the game with a last-second 53-yard field goal and then intercepted a pass pass in overtime to seal the game. So very dramatic finishes the last couple of games in Athens.
Exactly. So what are the 3 keys that the Yellow Jackets got to do to beat Georgia?
Well, I think it starts with really what they're able to do in terms of pressuring Jake Fromm, and that was one area where they didn't have a lot of success last year. They allowed him to get very comfortable in the pocket and distribute the ball to his receivers, and there's so much firepower on this year's Georgia team that you have to try to pick one element of their offense to try to take out of the game and limit them to something else. Now, just given the amount of talent that Georgia has, that's probably not going to be something they're real successful in doing. But at the same time, if you can limit them to the areas where they can be explosive, I think that's going to be another big thing for them to do. And in a similar vein, I think the second point is limit the big gains in the running game. Now, Georgia has a pair of extremely talented backs in DeAndre Swift and Elijah Holyfield, but Georgia Tech has been very successful for most of this year of limiting the marquee running backs for opposing teams to some of their worst performances of the season. And if Tech's able to do that and to force Georgia to do the more complex things and not get easy yardage on the ground, I think that's also going to set Tech up nicely. And finally, I think it's actually I'm going to cheat. I'm going to give you 2 more here.
Okay.
I think offensively, I think it's going to be very important for Georgia Tech to get their offensive tackles to that second level and do a better job than they did last week against Virginia of opening up those outside run lanes, really making sure that the linebackers get sealed off. Because when Virginia had a lot of success last week, it wasn't so much because they were whooping Tech out of the line of scrimmage. It was they were getting off blocks, and linebackers were able to flow over the top and shut down some of those outside run lanes to prevent big gains on the ground. So I think for Tech to be successful, they're going to have to find a way to wall off those linebackers. And finally, I think they have to win the special teams and turnover battle. Georgia's just too talented a team to give them second chances, and if you can steal a couple of possessions either through special teams or flip the field through special teams and steal a couple of possessions through takeaways, that's going to be a big equalizer, I think, for Georgia Tech. That should give them an opportunity to dominate time of possession, take advantage of their strengths and what they do well. And it's an area where Tech's had success the last couple of weeks. I think the last 3 games they've managed to recover at least one special teams fumble, and that's been big in this current winning streak they have.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Sean, thanks so much for coming on. Enjoy the game this weekend, and thanks for coming on during the last couple of weeks.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Folks, thanks for tuning us in here on HerbFM Sports Radio for the College Football Tonight. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you all next Wednesday.
Said you want to walk me home from school. Well, I said, yes, I do.